Video games. A visual interactive media that has since changed both entertainment and the world as a whole. Since its inception back in 1958 by physicist William Higginbotham, creator of 10s for 2, video games have grown substantially economically, culturally, and even controversially. Big shout out to Blizzard, by the way, we love Blizzard. With video games holding more weight in society than they ever had before, there have been many discussions both in past tense and present tense on whether video games are beneficial. In other words, are video games a waste of time? Now, there may be a huge group of you already disagreeing with this statement in the comments, and to that I salute you. However, there may also be a group of you who may agree wholeheartedly with this statement, and to that I say, fuck you. But to be fair, I understand this sentiment. As dated as this whole discourse is, even now it's still very much relevant. Hell, even when I type in the search bar on YouTube, are video games a waste of time? Hundreds of videos show up, and a decent amount of them are fairly recent, with most of them seemingly agreeing with the latter, actually. And this, my friends, is what inspired me to make this video in the first place, to finally finish the fight on the topic and bat for the side who seems to be the ones getting pegged as of right now. Now, before we jump in our Warthog, push our foot on the throttle and blast the Halo theme, you may have noticed something. If you paid attention to the search result here, what seemed to be the most interesting find in this whole search result is that most of these videos are coming from people who look to have been gamers. Except for Road Dragon, we can safely ignore him. So the question I now ask is, what changed their mind? But before we dig deeper into that question, I think we need to answer an even more important fundamental question. And in order to do that, we need to travel back in time where things weren't so connected. What was your first video game? I bet you just came with nostalgia just upon hearing those words. As for myself, I was born in the very early 2000s, and the first console I ever had access to was a PlayStation 2 and a weird assortment of PlayStation 1 games in a disc sleeve carrier. I can't remember my first experience with video games, but games that always come to mind when I think of this question is Ratchet & Clank 3, Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy, Spyro: New Beginning, and an abundance of PlayStation 2 licensed games. Remember Madagascar? And Ice Age 2: The Meltdown? Actual bangers. From what I've been told by my mum, I was playing video games ever since I could even hold a controller. I still remember the times of even coming home from kindergarten, begging my mum to allow me to play on the PlayStation 2. Jesus, I made that sound like a side of a drug problem.
Hey guys, I can quit when I want to, right?
So as time progressed and I started to get older, I got more and more into video games. I eventually got a PlayStation 3 in 2008 with Ratchet & Clank Tools of Destruction, which honestly blew my mind at the time. Experiencing HD graphics and a game running higher than 30 FPS was a magical experience. It made me really have hope for what was to come from the future of games. And to top off the following year, I received a Nintendo DS and a Wii, which got me involved with motion controls and all things Nintendo and filing assault charges against my siblings. I absolutely adored these consoles, and I had so many fond memories and experiences with them. This era of gaming for me was a golden era, or the honeymoon phase as some would describe it. Concreted even furthermore the friendship and bonds I was able to create through the love of this medium. Late game nights of local split-screen Minecraft, Mario Party games full of bullying and betrayal, custom games on Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Sniper Melee anyone? Ranked matches on Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege and trash-talking your teammates because they fumbled the 1v5. Oh man, it was really a time to be alive. Gaming had truly sunk its teeth into me, and I knew from this point on, video games would remain an important aspect of my life. And this sentiment remained with me up until now. But just like all good times, they eventually must come to an end. When I asked that question in the previous segment, I believe that a lot of you would have felt nostalgic upon thinking of your answer. Smiling ear to ear, reminiscing on a past time that feels so far yet so near at the same time. A time with less responsibilities, less pressure, and less overall noise. Now let's turn the other direction for a moment. Specifically, I want to focus on how video game consumerism has changed within the last few decades. Before we had digital storefronts such as Steam, PSN Store, or Nintendo eShop providing us with endless choices of what to buy, the only way we were able to buy video games was by going to either department stores such as Walmart, Best Buy, JB Hi-Fi if you're in Australia or New Zealand, or small storefronts such as GameStop or EB Games. No Amazon same-day delivery, no quick browse and wow, my game is in my library now. You had to physically drive up to a store in person and pay for your game at a counter. I know, crazy concept, right? Might I also add, you didn't even know if the game you just bought was necessarily going to be good or not. Hell, you didn't even know what was out at the time, but you trusted yourself. Now, looking at how we buy video games today, it's a huge difference. Accessibility of information being the big change in all this. Instead of looking at a video game box art and going with the old fuck around and find out mentality, we now have become more cautious with our spending. And this also has been amplified hugely within the recent hard times and societal expectations we are now submerged in. So we run through a lot of parameters before we even decide to buy a game. We check reviews to see overall whether the game is worth our time, check how long to beat.com to see how long the video game is going to take for us to beat. If we're 100%ing JRPGs, it's going to take us over 100 hours. Then check if it's popular, check if our friends are playing it, check over our looming backlog like it's Uncharted we have left behind on a milk run. And we just keep checking until we're left debating whether or not all of this is worth it. Whether gaming is for us anymore, or, what is wrong with us? When did our passion for games all of a sudden become another job? Why the fuck does everyone around us judge us for how we spend our free time? And why do we care? When I first discovered video game journalism back in 2013, it changed my life. And I think this would have changed your life too. This was around the time when a lot of people were starting to recognize the gaming industry. The internet was truly starting to blossom and companies were starting to take advantage of it. Digital storefronts were becoming more of a common placeholder in the gaming market. Gaming news was becoming more widespread and more easily accessible by the days. We had never felt more connected as gamers and as a society than ever before. You had sites like YouTube starting to spread like wildfire all over the internet. Game trailers, let's plays, speedruns, esports, and gaming content as a whole was starting to blow up. As the years went on, more and more content was now starting to become more readily available within our fingertips. Other social media also started to become hugely prominent, and it all extends far beyond gaming. People from all over the globe were making themselves known. Some we may have never known about if it wasn't for this new online space. But as more of us were becoming connected online, we would all slowly start to become more disconnected from what truly mattered most, ourselves. See, because we now became more connected as a society, social media became this unstoppable breeding ground for all things judgmental, scrutiny, competitiveness, and disassociation. New information was constantly circulating faster than we could process it, and it made coming to a conclusion on any one thing ever more difficult. Hot takes and opinions were now starting to fly faster than Jotaro Stan could send out punches. Controversies always became a new daily topic of discussion. We now started to analytically analyze ourselves and our behaviors, start to question who we were and what we should be doing, envy and spite anyone doing better than us, start to be self-conscious of what others think of us, and it goes on and on. Nowadays, it's become more and more harder than ever to switch our brains off and even allow ourselves to indulge in our hobbies and passions. We're constantly fearing for our safety. Back during our honeymoon phase, we didn't have to worry about any of this. Sure, we were more younger, naive, and more closed off to the world, but we also weren't so connected as a society. Social media not only changed how we connect as a society, but also made it harder to take a step back and indulge what we like to do. With opinions hanging around us like nasty flies, it becomes harder to feel comfortable and secure with who we are. We're constantly stuck on the fence, comparing ourselves, feeling envious of what others have that we don't, that just simply allowing ourselves to be enough has been ever so difficult. So what do we do to fix this problem? How do we reclaim ourselves? How do we enjoy playing video games again like we used to in the honeymoon phase? Through unrooting the main cause of this whole discussion, I think an answer does present itself to you. And it's a lot simpler than what you may think. The answer is, video games are what you make it. Life is what you make it. While this answer is quite simpler in theory than it is in practice for obvious reasons, it's still very true. What you may see as a tough boss in Elden Ring may not necessarily be as tough in someone else's eyes. What game you consider to be a masterpiece may be seen as total dog shit by friends. You may see a point to using real money to buy premium currency to pull for that mummy 5-star you've thirsted over on unsafe work waterfront, but others won't. Instead, they may see that worth in a 5-star lolly.
Hey, stop! Why? I just don't get it. I always catch you fuckers watching this sick shit. This is sickening.
In retrospect, you may see video games as more than just a simple hobby and just a pastime, but others won't. And that's okay. There are a lot of us around, 3.3 billion of us as a matter of fact, so don't feel alone. Art is subjective, video games are subjective, and life too is subjective. Your time on this earth is limited, and to be amongst people who devalue your lifestyle and throw judgment on people and yourself when they haven't even gotten out of their way to get to know you, that there truly is a waste of time. Your life and your perspective are uniquely your own to live. No one person will walk the same path you do, get dealt the same cards you did, and survive through all the storms that you were able to weather through. So you have every goddamn right to reward yourself and be kind to yourself by sitting on that couch and playing to your heart's content. So let's do ourselves a favor, shall we? Let us go and play some fucking video games.